The horror comedy is one of the more unusual genres of film out there, because as a general rule of thumb, horror and comedy are pretty much the exact opposite of each other. So to try and mix them together and have it actually work takes a lot of effort and talent. Now, some horror comedies get around this by leaning more heavily into one genre over the other, being either a horror movie with a few laughs or a comedy with a few scares. But generally, the most famous horror comedies tend to dive headfirst straight into camp. And that's pretty much the easiest way to mix those two elements together effectively. And that method does most definitely work, don't get me wrong, as that's given us such horror comedy classics as The Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. But that being said, today I'd like to go over a slightly different horror comedy. One that actually manages to be both funny and a bit chilling without relying on camp to balance it out. And that would be the forgotten 1940 horror comedy, The Ghost Breakers. Now, there are going to be spoilers for this movie ahead, so in case you'd like to watch it for yourself and don't want to know what happens, I would highly recommend you click off the video. Okay, so just to start with a brief summary, The Ghost Breakers is a horror comedy starring Bob Hope, Paulette Goddard, Willie Best, and even an unknown Anthony Quinn in a minor supporting role. Now, based on a play written around 1910, the movie tells the story of a woman who's just inherited a castle in Cuba that's heavily rumored to be haunted, and finds herself on the receiving end of death threats when she refuses to sell the estate. But after coming across a radio announcer trying to get away from gangsters, the two team up, along with the announcer's personal servant, to find out who's trying to kill her and just what exactly is haunting that new mansion of hers. Now, The Ghost Breakers was actually pretty successful in its day, probably due both to the fact that Hope and Goddard had already proven popular in another horror comedy they had done the previous year, The Cat and the Canary, and because the horror comedy in general was proving to be a big hit with audiences around that time. But today the movie is largely forgotten, except among old movie lovers, Bob Hope fans, and the occasional dedicated horror comedy fanatic. Now, I will be the first to admit that the movie isn't exactly a masterpiece, as in the end it is just a simple horror comedy, and even has some confusing elements to it. But on the whole, it actually proves to be a pretty solid movie for the era it was made in. In fact, The Ghost Breakers was actually said to be one of Bob Hope's favorite of his own movies, specifically for two reasons. The first being that he always played a coward in his movies, as they were naturally funnier, but in this movie his character is genuinely heroic. And it is true. Though his character does get scared a couple of times, he takes a surprisingly active role in the story for a Bob Hope character and does some pretty brave things, which is especially notable given the fact that he has absolutely no reason to get involved in the first place, but decides to anyway because he realizes that she's in desperate need of some help. And the second reason is because he felt he was cast alongside one of the best and most talented co-stars of his entire career, with that being the forgotten comedian Willie Best. And let me just say, Hope couldn't have been any more right in that regard, as this movie is worth watching if only for Best alone. He completely steals the movie and gets to show just how hilarious he could really be with a quality script to back him up. There are a few unfortunate and outdated jokes directed at his race, though, but fortunately they aren't enough to detract from how funny he is in this movie, especially because for the most part his character is treated with respect by the other characters and is never once regarded as inferior to them, which is more than Best would unfortunately get in the rest of his career, as due to his race he was often relegated to B comedies and other movies much lower than his talents deserved, and ended up dying in complete obscurity. But The Ghostbreakers does offer a glimpse into the career he could have had, because as I said before, he completely steals the movie, even from a comedian as famed and talented as Bob Hope. But for all of the laughs the movie provides, it does also manage to be a bit unnerving, particularly towards the end, when the group finally makes their way to the castle. Because waiting for them is a zombie, ghosts, and mysterious hands lurking around every corner as they reach the cusp of finding answers, but for the longest time remains just out of their reach, and actually manages to make for a pretty chilling final act because of it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the scariest movie ever or anything like that, but let me just say, if one expects this to be just a light comedy, then they're going to be pretty surprised. And even earlier in the movie, there's a moment where Hope's character is leaning on the ship's railing trying to figure things out, and seconds after he walks away, a heavy fire bucket hits right where his head had been. And the whole thing is played completely straight, almost making it feel like something straight out of a murder mystery. So my point is, though it definitely leans more into comedy, this movie does also do an effective job of delivering an unnerving atmosphere, and even a scare or two, when it wants to. Now, like I said before, in the end, The Ghostbreakers isn't a masterpiece and does show its age in a few unfortunate jokes, but on the whole is honestly a lot better than most people would give it credit for, and deserves to be more well known if only for Willie Best's absolutely scene-stealing performance. But again, even if he is absolutely the best part of the movie, it does still have plenty to offer, including quite a few laughs from the other characters, an interesting plot, and a surprisingly tense third act that manages to deliver on the previously built-up suspense pretty well. So while it will never rank as one of the greatest movies of all time, or maybe even the greatest horror comedies ever made, I do believe that it does deserve to be more well known than it ultimately is, especially in regards to the perfect performance of Willie Best. Okay, I think that was everything I wanted to cover. So now I'd like to hear what you guys think. Have you ever heard of the Ghostbreakers? And do you believe it deserves to be more well known? Or do you think it's better off with the reputation it has? Please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And remember, you are entitled to your own opinion on this or any other video you watch. So if you think I was completely wrong with everything I said in this video, that is absolutely fine. And thank you all for watching. I really appreciate all of it. And I hope to see you all next time.